The Hegemony Council had expected many things when they declared war on humanity. Desperate negotiations. Frantic attempts at surrender. Perhaps even some admirable last-stand heroics from the stubborn bipeds who had dared to refuse their ultimatum. They had not expected silence. For 3 standard cycles, every human colony, every research station, every trade vessel had simply stopped communicating. The galaxy's communication networks, once buzzing with human chatter about everything from quantum mechanics to sandwich recipes, had gone eerily quiet. Supreme Chancellor THYSS coiled her serpentine form around the command throne, her scaled skin rippling with unease. Still nothing from the human sectors. Nothing, Chancellor, her communications officer confirmed. It's as if they've all simply vanished. Impossible, snarled General Corax, his crystalline carapace reflecting the bridge's warning lights. 12 billion humans across 3,000 worlds don't just disappear. They're planning something. That was when the message arrived. Not through the usual diplomatic channels. Not even through military frequencies. It came through every screen, every display, every communication device simultaneously across the entire hegemony territory. Personal tablets, starship bridges, even the ancient ceremonial viewing crystals in the most secure government facilities, all of them suddenly displayed the same image. A single human, sitting calmly behind a simple metal desk. Admiral Sarah Chen, according to the identification markers, Supreme Commander of Human Defense Forces. She looked unremarkable by galactic standards, middle-aged, wearing a plain black uniform, her graying hair pulled back in a practical style. But her eyes held the cold certainty of someone who had already won. Declared war on humanity. You demanded our surrender, our resources, our servitude. Chancellor THYSS felt a chill run down her spine. How were the humans broadcasting on every frequency at once? How had they bypassed security systems that had been impenetrable for millennia? You made this declaration because you believed us weak, Admiral Chen continued. Because our colonies appeared defenseless. Because our ships seemed few. Because we chose diplomacy over aggression. The image shifted, revealing not the modest office they'd expected, but a vast command center stretching beyond the camera's view. Thousands of officers worked at stations that pulsed with energy signatures the hegemony couldn't even identify. You mistook restraint for weakness. You mistook mercy for inability. Chen's expression didn't change, but something in her tone made every member of the Hegemony Council unconsciously lean back. This was unwise. New images began flooding the screen. Views from across the galaxy that made the hegemony's military analysts frantically check their sensor readings. Human colonies that had appeared lightly defended were revealing massive underground installations. Research stations were unfolding into fortress worlds bristling with weapons that defied known physics. You see, Chen explained as the horrifying revelations continued, humanity learned something valuable from our early history. We learned that sometimes, the greatest kindness you can show a potential enemy is to make them so terrified of fighting you that they never try. General Corax's mandibles clicked in panic as his tactical officers reported impossible readings. Human fleets were appearing everywhere, not small patrol groups, but massive armadas that had somehow remained completely hidden until this moment. For the past 2 centuries, we have been the galaxy's peacekeepers not because we were weak, but because we were so overwhelmingly strong that no one dared test. That is the UES inevitable, Chen said calmly. Our oldest active warship. She has personally ended 14 separate galactic conflicts, usually by simply arriving in system. The Admiral looked directly into the camera, and for a moment, every being watching felt as if those cold human eyes were staring directly at them. She's on her way to your capital system now, along with approximately 10,000 of her sisters. The transmission began to fade, but Chen's final words echoed across the hegemony with terrible clarity. You declared war on humanity. Now we'll remind you what true power means. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. The screens went dark. In the silence that followed, Chancellor Thyss spoke the words that would echo through galactic history. Signal all fleets. Surrender immediately. Some wars end with a whimper. This one ended with a single, terrifying smile.